Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Friday, September 21st, and this is the weekend market overview. Looking at the Dow, SPX, VIX, TNA, UUP, FXE, GLD, SLV, and all the rest. So, today was OPEX, options expiration, quadruple witching, whatever you want to call it. Big day, but it wasn't a big day for the market. Dow down 17 points. SPX down a tenth of 1. So really nothing. Just a flat day. Now beyond that, what are we looking at here? Well, for one, we're looking for downticks, which they seem to be trying to creep in yesterday. Didn't really happen overall. And today, even though it was red, we did not get a downtick. Matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in really close here just to see it, and you can see they just made it go totally sideways, short-term moving averages, and we have no downtick. Right on the precipice of a downtick, but no, just don't have one. So, on the edge, ready to fall over, or is this still consolidation before it moves higher? Well, we'll have a big dose of QE come Monday, so I don't know. But at least the Bulls have that on their side. At its high today, looked pretty darn strong, rallied at the open, and just fell apart from there. Still trying to work out topping area in the heat map. It is ever so slow. 14-day RSI moving average moving up. Stochastics sideways and down, sideways on the CCI, down on the RSI still high, down on the histogram, and sideways on the MACD. Really, except for, the possibility of getting a downtick, I'm still in the camp of giving the Bulls the benefit of the doubt, especially since they have the Bernanke put, and we'll see how that money gets put to use come Monday. I wish there was more in that regard. 60-minute time frame. Do we have anything special? Well, we can see the big move up at the open. Boom. Almost getting to the previous high. Not quite. That it wasn't able to is semi-bearish. And you can see the fall the rest of the day. Accelerating. And just barely getting to the long-term moving averages in the 60-minute time frame. Now, what else do we have here? Well, we have a secondary reset. We can see the stochastics racing to the bottom. Overall, we're just in a box. Whichever way breaks out first is the one that's going to win. Either the top or the bottom. And stochastics, yep, they're going to get to the bottom, most likely. The question is, how much damage will they do by the time they get there? You can see the 14-day RSI moving average ending up sideways, right smack dab in the middle, waiting for this to finish. CCI is going down, RSI is going down, MACD is going down, MACD histogram is going down, although, well, it can easily finish its reset come Monday. So even a slightly down day, as long as we're still in this box, still as we close inside of it, we're still just going sideways, which could be bullish consolidation. SPX mentioned it was down a tenth of 1 point, which is nothing. And here it's even more pronounced, sideways action, which still looks like consolidation to me. You can see that right here. Do we have a downtick on SPX? No, we do not. It is totally flat. Kind of unusual, but totally flat. And secondary-wise, exactly the same as the Dow. Actually, maybe even a little bit better. Since the 14-day is already high, all it needs is a turn of the stochastics, which can happen, and and the bears are going to be in trouble. That's all there is to it. Um, the VIX. Do we have a tell on the VIX? No, we do not. We've talked about needing to retest the previous low, and sure, you do have these ascending higher lows, but if you break these, well, you're going to be right back here, and if that breaks, big trouble. But beyond that, we don't have an uptick in the daily time frame. We're still closing below the lower price consensus level. It tried to kiss it, wasn't able to. And what else do we have? Just trying to zoom out a little bit so it's clearer. You have the CCI ticking down. You have the 14-day RSI moving average moving down. You have the stochastics moving down. You have the RSI going sideways, slightly up on the MACD histogram, and still down on the MACD itself. Is this in a good position for a move up? Not really. If we had an uptick, maybe. But we just don't have that yet. And it is a spinning top indecision candle right here. Does it want to retest the low? That is the question. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer. And the 60-minute time frame, the VIX kind of melted away just like the SPX, which is not what it's supposed to do. It should have been going up. Beyond that, 14-day RSI moving average moving up, stochastics mixed low, CCI ticking up, RSI ticking up, MACD and MACD histogram going sideways. Very interesting. 60-minute does look more bullish than bearish. Daily looks more bearish than bullish, but questionable. What can you say? And TNA, small caps. We talked last night about it attempting to do a bubble corrective move. Came close, wasn't able to seal the deal, and I was wondering if that was all it was going to attempt. Gapped up today, faded the whole day, but certainly not what you typically want to see in this, but I thought it was questionable at the time. Maybe it can come back and finish it off, but that would require a really nasty Monday. Beyond that, 14-day RSI moving average still moving up. Stochastics losing steam. MACD histogram sloping down. MACD itself barely clicking down. CCI up. RSI sideways high. This doesn't look that bad to me. You get a turn of those stochastics back up, and we'll be retesting this recent high. Now, it's not to say that it'll be broken. Matter of fact, if it were to go up and test it and then bounce off of it, that would be pretty bearish, but a little bit early for that. So since this one looks so good on the daily, 60-minute, what do we see? Well, big gap up. It erased half of the gap. And matter of fact, I need to do some statistical work and see what happens at a half fill, if there's something that can be used there. But for the moment, I'm not sure. But you do seem to see this a lot, either at the halfway mark or when it's full for it to bounce. So there might be an edge there that I'm not... something to think about. Anyway, secondary reset underway, 60-minute time frame, stochastics racing to the bottom, looking to meet up with the 14-day RSI moving average, which is rising. CCI fading away a little bit, RSI going sideways, down on the MACD histogram, and barely down on the MACD itself. A little more bearish than bullish, but be very curious to see what happens when the gap fill is complete. As a matter of fact, we have a little bit of double gap fill here. So we have gap and we have gap. Filled some of it already, filled a little bit more of it today, and there's still a little bit more right in here. So a little bit more to the downside, totally reasonable. Will it fill the whole thing? I'm not sure. UUP, the dollar. We had two upticks. Uptick 1, uptick 2. We were curious if it would be able to fulfill the up movement or not. We said last night if this was green, that would be a great indication, but it was red, so it was questionable. And sure enough today, gap down, it was able to rise, but nonetheless, this was right to question this. With this being down, the market actually should have been up, but green candle overcame that. And really, in the daily, are we looking at a secondary reset, or are we looking at the beginning of an uptrend in the dollar? You could make a case for both. For one, the bottoming area is fading away, so it can move lower. We know it needs to retest this bottom at some point. CCI going down, stochastics going up, losing some momentum. If these turn around and go back down, we will have a retest of the low. 14-day RSI moving average holding low, not upticking, going sideways. Up on the RSI, up on the histogram, and up on the MACD, looking for a bullish cross, but it is not done yet. So, daily time frame, very, very questionable. Wish it was easier than that, but it is what it is. And why not? 60-minute time frame, UUP. And this makes a lot of sense. Had the gap up on Thursday into the long-term moving average bar. This isn't as strong as the daily, but still 60-minute isn't too bad. Gap up into it, which is unnatural. You want to fight your way through it. And so fades away. Today getting ejected and coming back in, trying to put pressure on it. We can see the stochastics are mixed. We can see the histogram is sloping down. We can see the MACD is fighting for a bearish cross. We see we have bearish divergence in the MACD histogram and bearish divergence in the RSI, which is barely clicking up. The CCI is fading away, and the 14-day RSI moving average is starting to move to the downside. So even though the positioning, the pattern looks good, in that it was ejected and now it wants to go back up to fight the right way, indicator-wise, it doesn't look that healthy. So, while you can make a case for either way, it does seem to me more likely that the low will be retested. And FXE, the euro. We know that downtick target takes us right into just below, actually, the 200-day moving average. It did its attempt yesterday, just like the inverse of UUP. This should have been red if we were going to complete it. It was green, made it questionable. Today going up, but fading. And you do have good alignment for a move down. 14-day RSI moving average very high and not ticking down yet. But if it were, we know that there's going to be big trouble. Conversely, we're already having a reset of the stochastics, have those turn around, go back up to meet the 14-day RSI moving average. The bulls are in good shape. CCI barely moving down, RSI barely moving down, MACD moving down, looking for a bearish cross down on the MACD histogram. The question will be, can this recover and maybe even base? In which case everything will move back up and it'll have the possibility of either retesting the high or even breaking it. So next week is going to be really interesting. I find that the first few days after options expiration are some of the best days because the manipulation to tie a price to a certain level is diminished. So it'll be very interesting. GLD. Yeah. We're saying that, we had a downtick right here, which which is definitely not going to work itself out. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is failed downtick. We haven't had one since. Came to a sideways on Thursday, but no downtick. As a matter of fact, making a new recent high today, which is bullish. And everything is holding high. You do have a slanting down on the MACD histogram, slight tick down on the MACD, slight tick down on the RSI, up on the CCI, mixed on the stochastics, and going sideways high on the 14-day RSI moving average. Certainly this looks toppy, but if you do have it move down in the dollar, there's no reason why this can't continue to climb, so I'm not going to knock it. SLV also making a new recent high today, bullish. And just like gold, everything is the same. A little more development in the MACD, looking for a bearish cross, but need to see a little more turnover on secondaries before we can say that this one is in really bad shape. That's pretty much all there is to it. Certainly would be much more bullish if it was a green candle making a new recent high, but it is what it is. CompQ, the NASDAQ. This is interesting. It pierced the recent high. Really not much to see. Retreated from it. We don't have a downtick. We do have a topping area still here. Most things are trying to turn over, but until that 14-day really gets a downtick, crosses the 80, and we get a downtick here, I'm just skeptical. Guess that's all there is to it, just skeptical. And Apple released their iPhone 5, was able to make a new recent high, bullish. Wasn't able to close there, unfortunately. Still looks like possible consolidation. We had the slightest of slight downticks on Thursday. If we blow it all up, the dip was bought, which we talked about a lot last night. Not bad in the heat map. A little bit toppy, but certainly not as bad as it could be. 14-day RSI moving average still moving down. Stochastics turning over. CCI going sideways, RSI going sideways, MACD going sideways, MACD histogram slightly down. It is a little bit vulnerable here, but till we get a really, see, you can't even see the downtick at this scale. So until we get one that's easily viewable, I'm still waiting. Still waiting. Now this one's interesting. GE has had this massive run, certainly topping area in the heat map, but we have a doji star, almost a spin top, but I'll just say it's a doji star, top of a range, possible problem area, new recent high, bullish, 14-day RSI moving average, plenty of room to move to the upside, stochastics holding high, CCI up, RSI holding high sideways, barely down on the MACD histogram and up on the MACD. This leads the Dow, and it doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. I mean, the candle is a little bit questionable in its position and all that jazz, but really, it's not, doesn't look bad. And US oil. And it did have a red day. So that makes sense with the Dow and the SPX. It is a spinning top. We still have some long-term moving averages in formation. Should help to suck it back up. But 14-day RSI moving average moving down. CCI up. Stochastics barely lower. Down on the RSI, down on the MACD, down on the MACD histogram. We could get a secondary reset here. Have everything move back up to meet the 14-day RSI moving average, which would be enough, most likely, to clear the long-term moving average bar before running into problems and going lower. It's just a guess, but it seems to make sense to me. Maybe that would even be a hit of the major price consensus level, or close to, and then it could start having some problems again. Has this gap here that it needs to fill. I wouldn't be surprised if that does get filled in the next week or so. JP Morgan, most important bank. Now this is interesting. Good for the bears. A clear downtick today. Very weak day. Yeah, the 14-day RSI moving average moving up. Stochastics down, CCI down, RSI down, MACD down, MACD histogram down. This looks poor in the daily. Poor. And certainly you get the banks to have a really nasty or semi-nasty drop. Not good for the market. This is in conflict with GE. So, yeah, case can be made both ways. Looking at XLF, financials. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's still short of the downtick target. 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, it's a failed downtick move 4 days into it, and or actually no, 3 days. So actually, it would have Monday to finish the downtick target, and it does look nasty in the daily. Down on the CCI, down on the 14-day RSI moving average, down on the stochastics, down on the RSI, down on the MACD looking for a bearish cross, and down on the MACD. That was the MACD histogram also down. So financials not looking too good, but if we do finish that bubble corrective move, then we'll have to see what it wants to do next. That could be the end of its move to the downside, although it can continue on to 15.5 and the long-term moving average bar. Very interesting. We definitely have some pros and some cons. And I think that's just about it for tonight. Hope everyone has a great weekend. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you.